Okay, so there really isn't much of an edge right here other than if you're short or long puts in USO or something like that, then that continues to play. Now I got out of my puts prematurely. All of this chop and the way this looked initially uh, to me looked like in LA wave speak. This looked like five up, and it just looks like three down. And then it started coming up again. So I took off the puts with a small gain, and now I'm flat. But I don't have much of an edge. And what I'm really wanting to show you guys is this range right here. Call it 98.82 to 93.81, right? That's a $5 range. And it just seems to me that that price for now is just content to be chopping in this range. And overall though, I would say the pressure is down. I mean, that's what it is. And if you look at the daily, you can kind of see that, right? We got up massive explosion higher after this beautiful trend up. Well, now, I mean, the structure is clearly broken in terms of that uptrend. I mean, very clearly, right? That's fairly obvious. And you're below the 21, the daily 21 now, which is a lot of traders are observing this. Now you can see we crisscrossed it a few times after this massive top. And then now the pressure's down. And, there is some support here, which you can see. And actually, just to look at that support in a different light, you go back to this chart. Some might think this is like a double bottom of sorts. But the pressure is down. And look at the technicals on the daily. The RSI is coming down. It is also below its signal line. And look at the MACD ever since that crossover right there, which is what initially got me leaning bullish. And then on this bounce and subsequent reversal is where I put over here, is where I put on those puts. Or was it here? Well, wherever it was. And then I got kind of shaken out of it. But now I understand why, because basically this is just coming down into this chop zone. And I think if I had to flip a coin, I'd say it's going to come down here and break this bottom eventually and then go lower to complete a larger bearish structure. But, I don't know the future. And I would just say I don't have a very good edge right here. And let's just take a quick look at Strat. Again, I don't have much of an edge. I put a box around this range, and you can see we're just chopping, right? We came down ever since this low. We've popped up, but now we're just chopping. So, it doesn't at all look like we're going higher to me, just based on how this looks. And there is a squeeze on that's only the 15-minute, who cares? The 1 hour, I mean, it's blinking on and off, but it's coming in and out of a squeeze, but it's just chopping in the range. So this is not surprising to see this 1 hour blinking on and off without really any resolution. And then if you want to talk about the longer term momentum, just take a quick look at the 4 hour. Let's move this box over, and I just like to draw a box around what I think of as range. And you can just see, look, the price, flirted with up there, and then it came down here pretty far below it. Isn't it interesting that wick, though, is the only thing down there, came right back up, inside candle. It's just chopping in a range. So yeah, on the 4 hour, slight momentum coming up, big deal. That's not a setup. The daily is kind of a mess, really. Look at you got this histogram, then it's coming down, it's going up, it's coming, blinking. The squeeze is blinking on and off. That just tells you it's chopping when you see that. So again, this is not a setup. And then if you look at the weekly is bearish, especially if we get back below 93.53. My feeling has always been that's an important level. So if we get through that, it just seems much more likely that you're probably good for $5. And it doesn't mean that just because it breaks that by a penny, you short it there. I mean, that would be trading a weekly chart. So I wouldn't recommend that. unless you can take, you know, $10 of heat. Because what I'm saying is, even if it breaks that level, initially, it can rattle around and come back up. But the idea is, if it does break that level, I think it's more likely that you're going to see 86.55. But for right now, I don't really even have a setup for that. Okay, thanks for watching. Thanks a lot. Take care, and I will see you on the next one.